Jalen.
Oh, no. Hey, Cole, how you doing? How retirement treating you?
It's great, man. It's great. Just, you know, a little writing, a little investing.
Nice. So I don't know if you saw the thing on Twitter about your statue.
You know I don't pay attention to that stuff.
Yeah, I figured that. Me either.
A drink, Mr. Bryant?
Yeah, I'll have a vodka martini.
How many olives would you like?
81.
Really?
Nah, man, I'm just playing. Just 2. Joke for him. He gets it.
James, please don't do this.
I just had the best year of my career. I gotta keep things fresh.
Well, then let's just go to Foot Locker. They got all the fresh new gear.
But I have real talent.
Can I get playback?
Okay.
I wear my shirt open so you see my chest, girl. I work so hard into.
Is that me?
Samuel came close to a game-ending interception. Well, that's about as demonstrative as you're going to see Eli Manning. Pressure from Thomas off the edge. Eli Manning stays on his feet, airs it out down the field. It is caught by Tyree. Inside the 25 and a timeout taken.
Popcorn world. can, so you can get this groove in the back of a can. And to make it round the world, man, the holes in your hand. Popcorn world. 250 flavors gonna make you smile. 250 flavors gonna make you smile. 250 flavors gonna make you smile. I said popcorn make you smile. Ah. Popcorn world. Popcorn world. Popcorn world. It's a popcorn world. It's a popcorn world.
You're now listening to the Brothers of the Five. At shooting guard, it's your boy, Killer Cam. At small forward, it's Reggie Love. At point guard, C Major. At power forward, Al B. And at center, Mr. Noise, Lloyd Spence. And now, the Brothers of the Five.
Add one more plus me and
Yes, sir. What's going on, good people? It's a hodgepodge night of activity. A hodgepodge. We are putting it together on the fly, but we putting it together like we do. It's your man Lloyd Spence. It's C Major over there, driving high on love, on traffic, Texas love right now. Texas traffic love.
Live from the ride right now.
You're wrong for that. Right off the bat, you come in here trolling. What's this about?
No, man.
You're a troll.
Hey, man.
Why are you trolling?
Hey, sometimes you got to get choked up, man.
That's terrible. That's terrible.
You gotta get choked up, man.
That's terrible. That is a terrible pun. Well, we got a lot to talk about tonight. I wanted to ask you. I'll ask you. Should we start with the breaking news of the day, or should we just go into the questions? I don't really know. Because we're gonna get to NFL news at some point in the show, and then we can just add it in. We'll just start with the breaking news. The regular questions.
What's the breaking news?
Well, everybody knows the breaking news is Deshaun Watson, but I kind of want to hold that for a little bit.
Okay, hold it then. Okay, we'll go.
Yeah, we'll hold it just a little bit. And that's a pretty significant breaking news, by the way. But let's start with our number one question. The college football playoffs went down. It went down yesterday. And there was a weird flip-flop at the beginning. I don't know how you lose your spot if you don't lose a game, but Ohio State lost their spot, which shows how much the committee values Missouri, because Georgia took the number one spot. Ohio State is number two. Michigan is still number three. So they ain't think nothing about the Penn State win at all. And Florida State is number four after struggling with put away Miami. Washington is number five. Oregon is number six still. Texas and Alabama didn't move at all. Only significant movement was in the 9 through 12 spots. Missouri jumped Louisville. I don't understand that, but okay. They jumped Louisville, even though they have two losses. Louisville is number 10. Oregon State moved up to 11. And Penn State with two losses. Now, those two losses are to teams that are in the top four of the nation. But still, there's two losses. They come in at number 12. And then Ole Miss, Oklahoma, and LSU round out the top 15. Chad Major, your thoughts as to what you just heard me say about the top 15 in the nation in the college football playoff rankings?
Well, I don't have any problem with it now since Georgia's back on number one. You're the champion, and I don't see how you can lose your spot if you haven't lost any games, and your schedule is just as tough as anybody else. So I feel like Georgia should be number one. The Ohio State Michigan thing, that'll sort itself out in a couple weeks anyway. So Florida State is where they should be. I think they definitely in the conversation. But I'm always high. I've been high on Washington all year, so I think that they might sneak in based off that Ohio State Michigan thing. So they could be the number 4 team, and Florida State moves up to 3. All the other things, they maybe have did the Mizzou thing, maybe strength of schedule over Louisville. I don't know, but I'm not sure what they were thinking about. But they did lose.
I'll say this. It's got to be strength of schedule because, and I'm gonna pull up Missouri here real quick, just to kind of give people some perspective of the two teams, and then that way you can kind of see. Because I was like, "What? That doesn't make any sense." But
yeah,
unfortunately, and this is speaking as non-biased as I can speak. Unfortunately, it kind of does because Missouri has played if you look at their schedule, they kind of played a tougher schedule than you could argue. Missouri may have played a tougher schedule than anybody on this list. And let me share screen here. I'll pull it up. Here we go.
And we know that accounts for a lot. We know that accounts for a lot. So
yeah, and listen, they beat number 15. They beat Kansas State. They lost a tough one to LSU in Georgia, but they beat a 24th ranked Kentucky. They beat Tennessee handedly, by the way. So they've had arguably a tougher schedule. I think Memphis is at the top of their conference. So arguably they've had a tougher schedule than maybe Louisville has. So I get it. As much as I may not like it, I do get it. But again, Louisville has a path to control their own destiny because they beat Notre Dame. They beat number 10 Notre Dame. They beat Duke. If they can beat Miami this weekend, which all signs point to that they should, although I think the game will be tougher than people think it'll be. But if they can beat Miami at Miami, so it's again, this I say this every week. This thing tends to sort itself out. I'm not as upset about Georgia, the top 4 as I was before, because I do think Georgia should be number 1. Penn State, I don't know. I honestly don't know. And let me just take the screen for just a second about the Harbaugh thing, because I know a lot of people are talking about the Harbaugh situation and Michigan cheating and all that interesting stuff. So I want to take the screen and give you a little commentary. Chad, you can do what you need to do. Here's the reality for me as it relates to Jim Harbaugh, and I've said this on another show, and I'll say it again on this show. I don't. There's several arguments that are going on that I don't necessarily care for. The first one is that Michigan are victims here. They are not. They are not victims at all. If it appears that this gentleman was literally going to steal signs, that does not make you a victim. That makes you a villain, and you were cheating. Okay. Now, here's the other side of that. I don't have a problem with the people that are screaming to say Michigan should not be in the top 25. I mean, have a chance to even compete for a playoff role. I don't have a problem with those people saying that, because you know why? The NCAA has notoriously gotten rid of banners for teams that cheated. They have fired coaches or helped coaches become fired for teams that have cheated. Losses have been vacated or wins have been vacated for teams that have cheated or whatever. So I don't have a problem with the people that are saying, hey, man, they cheated. Why do they get to compete for a national championship if they cheated? I agree. I don't have any issue with those people saying that. And for the people who are staunch to say, oh, but the kids work so hard, well, the kids have always worked hard. SMU's kids worked hard back in the day when they got the death penalty. Michigan, the Fab Five worked extremely hard when they got the banners taken down. Louisville got the banners taken down, and those kids won a national championship. So I don't want to hear this stuff about kids worked hard, this, that, and the other. This is the price of business. And we can't, if we're going to make this a fair and equitable process, and we're going to make this a fair and equitable. Now, some people might argue and say, yeah, but the process isn't fair, Lloyd. The process isn't fair. It's not fair that they haven't even finished the investigation with Coach Harbaugh, and they're already punishing him 3 games. Well, listen, they hadn't finished the investigation on a lot of things in the NCAA or Big Ten or whoever it was investigating, and the punishment went down first. So there definitely needs to be some consistency in a flawed system. I agree with that. Can't argue against that. But to sit here today and act like this man didn't break rules, come on, man. And I understand that people, the Michigan faithful who have defended Coach Harbaugh and defended their institution and defended their university, I get it. But I'll be honest with you, when Louisville was going through their process, I didn't defend them. You can't defend what's wrong. And if they blew it and if they cheated, they cheated. That's just what it is. And so when somebody breaks the rules, they broke the rules, and there's a punishment and a consequence to breaking the rules. And so we can't just keep making the passes and excuses for the people that break the rules. Like they didn't listen. Now you can argue all day long, is it a stupid rule? Probably, because it's probably not. It's probably a rule that everybody's breaking. There's probably a lot of people that are stealing signs and doing all kinds of stuff to get a competitive advantage against another team. So I don't think that's really the issue to me. That's a whole nother conversation as to if the rule is dumb. But then I also take issue with the people that try to say, I take issue with the people that try to say, well, everybody's doing it, and are you gonna punish everybody? Because this one team is doing it. Yes, we're gonna punish everybody if everybody's doing it. That's how this works.
Sorry about that, bro.
No. So I was trying to be a little more smooth than that, Chad. I was trying to cover for you, so you'll have to apologize. Yeah, everybody's got to be punished if everybody's doing it. That's just what it is. Or change the stupid rule as to what cheating looks like in the Big Ten or in the NCAA, science and all that. Change the rule. But if there's a rule in place and we broke it, it's like the NIL rule. Technically, have people broken rules in NIL prior to the NIL being in existence? Yes. People receiving money, whatever. Okay, they broke the rule and they got their punishment. But it does seem a little asinine to keep punishing people for something now that's legal. So I don't know. I think the people that have been apologists for Michigan, I think that's kind of ridiculous. He did what he did. And so the punishment fits the crime. I don't really have an issue with the punishment. I have an issue with the whole system. I'm not an NCAA fan. I recognize that there are tremendous flaws in this organization that need to be corrected. So that's all I'm saying. We're focusing in on the wrong thing. And the thing is, the institution itself needs to be corrected. And so you're trying to filter rules through a flawed institution. Doesn't work. So that's my thoughts on the whole Michigan part of this. They are what they are. And I see you trying to position your Michigan hat. It doesn't change my thoughts, Chad.
That's fine. That's fine. Hey, what they say, birds will feather flock together. You had a cheating university. I got a cheating university.
First of all, we didn't have a cheating university. We had a cheating individual.
Okay, well, we got a cheating individual too then.
Okay, and therein lies where I'm saying we keep punishing the university and the kids when it's maybe an individual's problem. But I'm just asking for some consistency. If the standard is punish the university and punish the coach, then let that be the standard. Yeah. So that means Michigan got to pay like everybody got to pay.
We don't know what other colleges are doing.
That ain't true. That ain't true. Y'all put a whole letter together and said Rutgers was cheating, Purdue was cheating.
I mean, hey, if it's Big Ten business, it's Big Ten business. If everybody's looking and trying to get the edge on everybody, at the end of the day, on the field, you still got to stop it. So, I mean, whatever intel you get, you still got to stop it, whatever happens. So, you got 3 games. This is kind of a pivotal stretch. We've got Ohio State in a couple of weeks. We'll see if they can outlast it and still be in the top 4. But I mean, if you do the crime, they say you got to do the time. So
that's what they say. That's what they say. So I don't know. I personally, as we get to question number 2, I don't know. Listen, it clearly didn't matter to them this weekend because they did their thing against Penn State and handed them one. So it obviously didn't have that much effect on the game. They ran the ball all over Penn State.
Yeah, I think we ran the ball exclusively in the second half.
They're a good team. Huh?
Yeah. I said I think exclusively we ran the ball all the second half, I think.
Yeah. So they proved that they're a good team. I still don't know if they're a top 4 team yet, but
we'll find out in a couple of weeks.
To be honest with you, I don't like the way the college football playoff committee views any of this stuff. Like, all you can do is play who you play. I get it. And I'm sure everybody's tiered out a certain way. Mm-hmm. So there's some teams that are tiered out top tier. Some conferences are tiered out top tier. And so those games or those wins are weighted heavier than some others. But all you can do is play who's in front of you. So has Michigan beat the people that are in front of them? Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Because, see, at this rate, if Michigan were to lose to Ohio State or vice versa, how do you take them out of the top 4?
Put Washington in if they win out.
Yeah, but you're going to put a 1-loss Washington in over and I've been saying Washington should have been in all along, so you're not going to get me to complain about that. But what I'm saying is the way you have it structured right now, you're saying that the wins that Washington have are not valued as high as the ones Michigan and Ohio State have, only because they have the 1 loss. Okay, if that's true, then if Michigan has 1 loss, Michigan or Ohio State is going to have 1 loss. We know that. So then, which loss is worse? The loss Washington, and I'll pull them up real quick just to kind of give you context of what I'm attempting to say and say it poorly. Washington, their 1 loss came to or through and give me a second because the computer's booting. Yeah, their 1 loss. Have they lost? Washington hadn't lost.
Oh, well, there you go. See, they would be in. They would be in.
Well, but they got 3 games. They got to beat Oregon State. They got to beat Washington State. And then they got to win the Pac-2 conference.
I think they can do that.
Who would make the conference game at this point? I gotta look at.
It's not Colorado.
No, Colorado will not make the conference. Colorado's probably not going to get the 6 wins.
No, not at all. I don't think so.
Barring a miraculous finish, and I mean miraculous, they're not going to get the 6 wins. So Washington is top. It looks like, unless Oregon collapses this week, well, they would have to lose 2 games, I would think, though, right? Because don't they have the tiebreaker to Arizona and Oregon State? Oregon is at 6-1 in the conference. Washington is at 7-0. So,
what is USC?
USC's fine. They've been out. They've been out.
Okay.
Yeah, they have no shot.
Yeah. So it's probably those
it's either gonna be Oregon, Arizona, or Oregon State. And let's see who has the tiebreakers. Oregon lost to Washington. That was their only loss. So that means Oregon beat Arizona. Did they play?
Let me see.
No, they did not play. Wow.
No, not yet. Or they're not on
Oregon
schedule or
did
not yet?
Play Arizona. Arizona's loss was to they've got 3 losses total, but their only conference losses. Their conference losses were to Washington. Wait a minute. Yeah, they would be out.
Yeah, they would be out.
How many losses does Oregon State have? They have 2 overall.
Oregon State has 2 losses. Yeah, 8-2.
I'm freezing. I froze a little bit there. Are we good?
They're 8-2. Yeah. Are you still frozen?
Okay, I'm frozen on my end. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, Oregon State is 8-2. So
you good now?
They lost to Washington State.
Yeah, I don't know.
So it's gonna be interesting. This is gonna be really, really interesting.
Yeah, it's confusing, man.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how this all plays out, because Washington can't lose. They can't lose to the next 2 games, especially to Arizona State. They cannot lose to Arizona State. That's their next game. Because if they lose to Arizona State, that's what's considered a bad loss. Yeah. And that would mess them up bad. So then that would put Washington and Oregon got to just win, and it should be okay.
Is there a chance that maybe UCLA may be in there?
No, they're out. They're out. It's gonna come down to just those 3 teams in the Pac-12. So it'll be interesting to see. Now, here's another thing. Barring a massive major collapse, an undefeated Florida State is going to play a 1-loss Louisville team. Florida State is currently in ACC. They represent the ACC at number 4. If Louisville can beat Florida State and then it also will depend on the type of win they'd get as well. But could they jump from 9 to 4 depending on the type of win they get? Because
I don't think they jump that much. I don't think they could jump that much.
I don't know. See, that's what I'm saying. Because that would mean Louisville would have beat Notre Dame and had a better win against Notre Dame than Ohio State did, even though it was at home. It was a better win than what Ohio State did, right? Yeah. So they would beat Ohio State. They would beat Kentucky. And depending on how they beat Kentucky, it could be a better win than Georgia had. So this is going to be interesting to see how this flows down the stretch. Head-to-head wins, all of the different scenarios. But I think Georgia, going back to what we said earlier, I think Georgia is the clear and away lock.
Yeah, and I think that the Ohio State-Michigan thing is going to clear a lot of stuff up.
See, I think the Ohio State-Michigan thing is going to cause more confusion.
How so?
Because I don't know. You've got them 2-3 now. So if they stay the course to next week, a one-loss Michigan or a one-loss Ohio State, is that better than a one-loss Washington if Washington ends up losing? Or Ohio State ends up losing? I mean, or Oregon ends up losing one. Well, they already have one loss. Mm-hmm. So I think it's going to cause a lot more confusion. And then it's going to be, I tell you what, these last 2-3 weeks are going to be very, very interesting. Yeah. Because I think we're going to have chaos. I think we're going to have pure chaos.
Yeah, because you don't want Ohio State and Michigan playing 3 times in a row.
Possibly.
They could be played 3 times in a row.
Possibly. That's the point. Yeah. That's possible. That's very possible. So
I don't think they want that.
I wouldn't think they want that either. So anyway, who's your Heisman right now, if you had to pick?
Michael Penix.
I have to agree, man. I Michael Penix, and I'll even say something else, and a lot of you guys are gonna think this is sacrilegious, but I don't think it is. I think it's just where we are. I mean, you can make a strong case that Michael Penix is the number 1 pick in the draft.
Yeah.
Because Caleb, with all due respect to Caleb, there are certain aspects of his game. See, this is the bad part about having to come back another year. Because in the year you dominate and you get to the Heisman, you are you're fine. You look good. You put on this masterful year. Everybody loves you. But then in the second year that you come back, now the only thing that people are going to see are your flaws, all the shortcomings that you have, all the things that you're not doing right. And that's kind of where Caleb Williams is. He is being kind of exposed in some areas, and he's still a phenomenal player. Don't get me wrong. I'm looking forward to seeing him in a New York Giants jersey next year. But I'd be lying if I said I don't think I would be upset if we took Michael Penix.
I think if you have a chance, you take Michael Penix. I think Caleb Williams will probably be Dak Prescott-esque player.
Wow.
Which he's good at times, and at other times you're like, what are you thinking? I think Michael Penix.
No, keep going, because I think I know where you're headed.
I think Michael Penix is the more pro-ready and more accurate of the two. So I think your player comparison for Caleb Williams, I believe, is Dak Prescott. Michael Penix, I don't know what his player compare. It could be. I don't know. I have to think on that. But I think if you were a Giants fan, like I wish we could trade up and get him.
I'm a Giants fan.
Yeah, if we had a chance to trade up and get him, I would definitely be all for that.
Do you think Caleb Williams has to have all of the right pieces to win? Or is he the type of player? Which one is the type of player that elevates what he has? And which one is the type of player? Because when you say Dak, you almost imply that unless everything around him is perfect, you can't really win with him on the level that you want.
Correct. I think that Michael Penix, you can put some stuff around him and he can make something out of nothing. Caleb, I don't think he has that at this point.
Wow.
Because he's got, the top receivers and the top running backs. USC is a recruiting powerhouse, so they put a lot of stuff around him. The only thing that was messed up was their defense, but
Pretty messed up,
had
though.
yeah, yeah. But
Pretty
he has weapons, which he was throwing to a lot of weapons.
But to your point, Washington's defense is really not that much better.
Yeah, but
like it's not very good.
It's not very good, but
it's better than USC's. Yeah. But it's not great. Like it's not dominant in any way, form, or fashion. Washington defense is not going to shut you down if you're a good team.
Yeah.
So
they're going to outscore you.
They're going to outscore you.
But they have guys that you can that he makes them better, but you're not like they're not the recruiting of the recruits at Washington as you would see at USC.
Because if I'm being honest, I don't really even know Washington's receivers' names. Like
exactly.
I'm assuming that they're good. I don't know them, but I do know that USC has a couple of 5-stars, including Jerry Rice's son, and Caleb is benefiting from all of it. So that's an interesting point you made. He may be more Dak than he is Jalen Hurts, or Dak than he is, and like Michael Penix may be more. I wouldn't say Mahomes, but maybe he's more CJ Stroud.
Yeah.
I mean, that might be his comparison. That if you give me whatever, I'm good enough to throw them open. I'm good enough to make them their game level raise or whatever. Exactly. That's interesting. That's an interesting point you just made. All right. Well, now I want to play a game with you, Chad, if you don't mind, sir.
Sure.
I thought about this week, and I said, there's a lot of I don't know going on in the NBA.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to throw some names and some scenarios out at you, and I'm going to throw them at myself. And we're going to answer, of course they are, or I don't know. I honestly don't know. And I know it's early in the season, but this is a good time to do this. So the first scenario is we're going to say the Clippers are going to be a top 4 team by the All-Star break. Of course they are, or I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think they
looked better last night. They looked better last night, a little bit.
They looked better last night, but I think ultimately they're going to have somebody come off the bench. If it's going to be James, if he's going to accept the role as CP3 is accepted and come off the bench and engineer that second unit, and he can get all his shots. He can still score 20 and 10 assists. But somebody, I don't think all 5 of them should start together. So.
Well, I know that they're about to pursue Daniel Theis. I was going to say Thesis. Daniel Theis is going to be joining the team. It appears. All signs point that he's getting ready to get bought out, and they're going to shift him in to kind of back up Zubac and Plumlee. That Plumlee thing sounds way more serious than it initially may have been. So it'll be interesting to have him there, but ultimately they are a woefully undersized team. And boy, you didn't know that. It became way evident last night in that Nuggets game. Now, to their credit, they battled the Nuggets well coming down the stretch. They just, came up short on some shots. But I'm gonna tell you something. The thing that gives me pause with them. And I know everybody's going to talk about James Harden and what he's not doing and how that disrupted the flow, this, that, and the other. But I need everybody, to start paying attention to the way Kawhi Leonard is playing. Kawhi Leonard is starting to look older.
Yeah.
Just watch how he plays. And as the game goes along, the longer that he's got to be out there, he looks older. And I'm just going to say, I'd be more concerned about the amount of minutes that Kawhi is putting on those legs so early in the season than I would anything else. And so my answer is the same as yours. I don't know, because I don't know if they can play like this without having depth in their bench. Because to me, that's the real problem. There's no depth in their bench. And I don't think they can keep this up for an entire season. And by the All-Star break, it would not surprise me if they were fighting to get in the play-in game. It would not surprise me. So,
very realistic at that point.
Yeah. So now I'm going to throw this at you. The Memphis Grizzlies are going to make the play-in. Of course they are, or I don't know.
I'm going to give it a hell no.
Wow. No shot.
No.
Wow. Tell me why.
I mean, they're already skidding down. Even though Ja's going to get back, he still got in jail with the new teammates, the Derrick Roses, and he still got to get himself in game shape and everything like that. So I think you're running into the All-Star break, and that's half the season already. So I just think that they'll be losing a lot of ground to try to go to the play-in and try to at least be competitive. So I don't, unless they blow it up and add some more pieces, I don't think it's going to happen.
I don't even know what they could add to make up the difference. I just think you're asking Jaren Jackson. The other day, Jaren Jackson played and he got like 2 points. They're nothing about what they have on the court now makes sense together. Nothing. And Desmond Bane is not that kind of leader. Desmond Bane is a phenomenal complementary part. And so I think it's going to be way too much to overcome. There's a good chance by the time John Morant gets back in January that this team has only won 5 games. They could be 5-20 easily. Yeah. And if they are, then that's the ball game. So no, I agree with you. I'm going to skip down to one because we have some breaking news. We said the Warriors, Suns, and Lakers are exactly where they should be at this time of the season. And we just got the breaking news that Draymond is going to be suspended for 5 games. NBA just announced. And then also they're fining Klay Thompson, Jaden McDaniels, and Rudy Gobert $25,000 each.
Figured as much. I thought he was going to get 5. So at least 3 or 5. So
yeah, I don't have a problem with them finding the guys. I don't have a problem with him getting the amount of games that he got. I think everything came out about the way it was supposed to. So now we go back to this question: the Warriors, Suns, and Lakers are exactly where they should be at this time of the season. I would say the Warriors don't think so.
yeah, they just lost a lot of defensive help. So it's
lost a lot of
now Steph is dealing with an injury, so it may be some losses, string of losses, but hopefully they can adjust. But yes, that is not where we want to be at this point. So
I don't have this as a question, but I'm going to add it as a question right now because the interview that went down last night or today really was to Zach LaVine, and that there are a lot of teams that are interested in bringing Zach LaVine in. The Warriors with no Steph have struggled mightily offensively, although last night they played much better. And the rookie
Podziemski.
What is it?
Brandon Podziemski.
Is that what it is?
Yes.
He played fantastic. I'm not sure we can count on that every night, but he played fantastic last night. So I'm interested in your thoughts on them pulling the trigger on a Zach LaVine trade right now.
See, I asked that question a couple of days ago.
Because clearly, let me say this before you answer. Clearly, there's conversations going on based on the way that Zach answered the question today. He would not have answered that question with such an openness and an authenticity had there not been some conversations going on. So that was a signal to all that needed to know, hey, I can't really talk about it, but I probably ain't gonna be here much longer. So are your Warriors a target to you, or should they be?
I was thinking about it. They should be.
Float the idea that you floated to me. Float the idea that you floated to me.
Klay Thompson, Moody, and I don't know, some other, maybe a 3-team deal to get some other pieces. But the sentimental thing about the Klay Thompson, he's on an expiring contract, but still the money, Levine makes so much money that it essentially wouldn't work without maybe some other teams to be absorbing that contract. But I mean, Klay is sometimes a step slower. If they want to try Wiggins, maybe Wiggins for Levine, I would explore.
He's struggling.
I would
He's struggling
explore
right
Wiggins
now.
for Levine. I would do that. And we don't have to give up Klay, and we still have Levine with Thompson until Steph gets back and Draymond. I think that'll be good, but I think Wiggins, his time may be coming to an end.
Oh man,
you have to be consistent in that fourth spot. You have to be a consistent contributor, and he's just not that.
And let me answer the rest of the question before we get back to this. Suns, Lakers, I think they're probably where they need to be. We've already addressed the Lakers. Lakers they still need a point guard. They got to solve that problem. Until they solve that problem, I think they're going to fluctuate up and down. Although the last 3 or 4 games, they've looked actually better. And I like Austin Reeves coming off the bench for Cam Reddish. I like that. I think Cam might need that starting situation to kind of get his juices going. He has played much better, and he's a much better defender. So love what he did against Kevin Durant. I thought he played brilliantly. So I like Cam Reddish starting in that lineup. The Suns, we haven't seen the Suns lineup yet, so it's hard to say, what they're supposed to be right now. Tonight, Bradley Beal is supposed to play, so we'll see. What they look like once they put all the pieces back on the floor. I think the Suns are going to struggle regardless because they just don't have a bench. They don't have enough. The drop off offensively from when those guys are on the floor to when those guys are not is tremendous, and they're going to have to stagger those guys' minutes. And then if you do that, then you're not really getting the benefit of who they are. So I just think they're going to struggle all season long with that team, whatever, because they just don't have enough defensive strength to offset the amount of offense that you lose when they go to the bench. And you got to rest these guys at some point in the game. So that brings me back to your Warriors. I don't. If Reggie Love were here, he would say do that deal with Klay. I don't know. The problem with the Klay deal is that it's probably the one that makes the most sense. Just taking the name off of, or just looking at where they are in their careers right now, taking the sentimental part of it out. That's the one that makes the most sense. But you've never mucked around with this chemistry the entire time they've been there. And I think if they were to get rid of Klay, it would reverberate throughout that entire locker room. And it could be as irreparable as what happened when Draymond hit Jordan Poole last year. It could be that bad because you just saw what happened. Draymond went and defended Klay 2 minutes inside of a game a minute and 30 seconds inside of a game last night. So clearly the chemistry would be devastating to bring Zach in, and in replacement of Klay. I think it could be devastating. If you could do it for Andrew Wiggins and Moody and maybe some picks, then I probably would pull the trigger on that. But if
I would definitely pull the trigger on it. Definitely.
But you gotta. But I would say this: I think you gotta pull the trigger on something. Now, I'll tell you this as well, and this is where it gets interesting for me because as much as I would, if I'm a Warriors fan, as much as I would love to have Zach LaVine, I'm gonna tell you what I would love even more. If there's a way to get Zach LaVine and say Torrey Craig or
Caruso.
Caruso doesn't help you as much as you need a big. You need a big.
We do.
Torrey Craig's not technically a big. He's listed at 6'5",
No.
but he's willing to do the dirty work. You need somebody that can do the dirty work. Maybe you can steal Julian Phillips, or maybe you can steal. See, I think they're going to be in blow up mode, like soon. Like if they're going to do this deal, then I think everybody's on the table.
Is Andre Drummond still over there?
Andre is still there, and maybe for the body, just solely for the body and size.
That could work.
Maybe that 6 fouls that you can put on Jokic, help Draymond out on the backside of the defense, help Looney out on the backside of the defense. If you could, that might be the only reason I do the deal is that I can steal 2 and solve 2 problems for the price of 1. Does that make sense?
Exactly.
So, all right. So that's a big. But as far as are they all where they're supposed to be at this time? Probably. All right. Now I'll go to this one. No, we went to that one. Where am I at? Oh, here it is right here. The last one. The Rockets, 76ers, Timberwolves, and Mavs are all legitimate. What we are seeing is real. They are all contenders. And this is not a joke. This is not a game. This is the real thing. And for those who may or may not understand why we are talking about that in that particular manner, I will show you the standings right now for those teams. There's Denver. There's the Timberwolves at 2, the Mavericks at 3, and the Rockets at 4. All in the top 4 of the conference. Now, again, we're only 11 games into an 82-game season. So, but there they are. Do you believe that they're all legitimate contenders, sir?
The Rockets, not right now. No, not right now. They have a good coach who's obviously gotten them to buy in, but I think it's just too early. So I think at some point, experience will wear its head and they'll fizzle out. So I think you can fizzle them out. Timberwolves, just not sure what you're going to get at this point. You can't even get Cat and Anthony Edwards to defend Rudy Gobert. So I don't even know if he's going to be there at the end of the season. So I don't know about them. Mavericks, they could sneak in and be still within that 3 to 5 spot. So I think that they are playing pretty good, and they have pieces, young pieces.
Are they playing pretty good, or are the bottom 4 teams, which are the Lakers, Warriors, Pelicans, Suns, who saw that coming, and then the Clippers are like the 12th team in the conference, are they just all playing really like they're not playing up to their potential yet? That's what I'm struggling with the Rockets, Mavericks, and Timberwolves. I don't know if they're really good or if they're just the teams that we think are the front runners are just off the slow starts.
I mean, the Mavericks had a lot of turnover. They had a lot of new players come in. So maybe they're just playing on a high. But I mean, I still think they're going to be in the conversation in those spots. The Lakers, they had some players come in, but I mean, it's nothing to get too acclimated for. So I think they're just starting out slow, but I think they'll jump up. But the Rockets, I just think that they're playing right now, but I think something's going to happen as far as experience, and they're gonna probably tail off at some point. The Timberwolves, I'm not really worried about them.
Yeah, I gotta believe. Same thing with you, bro. I gotta believe. My eyes are deceiving me right now. Like, I think it's just the Timberwolves may be a top 6 team. I can kind of believe that because it looks like Anthony Edwards has taken another step. So I'm willing to kind of believe that a little bit. I don't know. The Rockets don't feel like I watched them the other night. Even when they blew out the Lakers, I was like, a lot of this feels like just because we didn't have Anthony Davis that night either, so that made a massive difference. But I don't know what I'm seeing. I don't know what I'm seeing, and I want to believe it, but the Rockets don't feel real to me, not yet.
Yeah. If they're doing this after the All-Star break, then I could say okay, but
then you
like
got
it's too early.
Yeah. By the way, I didn't have the Pelicans in here, but I didn't love Zion's answer. Did you love his answer the other day last night about I'm just trying to trust the process and all this stuff? I didn't understand what that seemed very cryptic. And I didn't understand what he was trying to say. Like, what are you talking about, bro?
I'm trying to buy into what the coaches are telling me.
That's what every player in the NBA is doing, is buying in
until I want to leave. Until I want to leave. I think that's what I'm here right now until something happens. And I want
to. Do you think it's over? Do you think that experiment's over? They should move on.
Not necessarily. I want to see what this season looks like. I want to see a full season out of them.
See, I'm gonna be honest with you. I think they should move on. I think while his value is still relatively high, I would move on. I'd get what I could get for him. Because we got a good team. If we're the Pelicans, you got a good team. And so why not go ahead and get what you can get for him now? If he wants to go, listen, if he wants to go to New York and play with the Knicks, man, bring back Randall, bring back RJ Barrett, and figure out what you can get out of that deal. And then listen, you might need to get Brunson.
Yeah. But as a opposing GM, I want to make sure he can go a full season though. I want to make sure that he can do that before I try to trade all the pieces for him.
Well, I agree, but at the same time, I'm speaking strictly from New Orleans because I think New Orleans knows he's not going a full season. He's just I don't think, and I understand. I hear people talking about his body size, and it's wildly uncomfortable to do that. By the way, let's be very clear. Talking about a man's body size is a weird thing to do. But having said that, currently they have him listed at 6'6" and 284 pounds.
That's a lot.
He's not going to play a full season at 284. Because if he's 284, he's really 290. If we're being honest. He's $1 million away from 290. So I'm just saying, to me, that's way, way too heavy to be playing 82 game season and expecting him to be out there for all 82. I think here's what I need people to understand. Zion at 6'6", 284 weighs more than Jonas Valanciunas, his teammate, who is 6'11". He weighs 265.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
That is crazy. So
he needs to talk to Oliver Miller, man. He needs to get in contact with Oliver Miller. Like Oliver needs to tell him, man, you gotta lose that weight, man. Or you out the game, bro.
Because you're going to eat yourself out the league, Playboy. It is just a matter of time. And I'm not trying to hate. I know everybody thinks, man, why you be hating on Zion Williams? I'm not. I just know we know basketball, Chad. We know basketball. That's what we know. And I'm telling you, man, that dude is too big for the type of game that he had. If he had just strictly a low post you up, Zebo type game, you wouldn't hear me say a word. I wouldn't say a word because Zebo was smart enough to know I can't be jumping up and trying to tear the screws off of the thing and doing windmill dunks and all that stuff. I can't do that. I got to keep it off this block, make moves off the block, and just try to play low down here. But that's why Zebo played as long as he did. That ain't what Zion's trying to do. Zion's trying to be a point guard. He's trying to jump out the gym. He's trying to do all these different stuff. Well, guess what? Man, at 284, your body feels that. So I just think, I don't know.
It's a difference between playing 5 years in the league and 10 plus years in the league. We're trying to get them to that. That's all.
We're trying to get him to 10, man. You ain't getting the 10 to 284, Playboy. Sorry. Not unless you Shaq at 7'1". You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and Shaq didn't do all the stuff you doing. So, I don't know. It's to me, it's dangerous, but it is what it is at this point. All right. That brings us to our breaking news of the night. After a resounding win against comeback win against the Ravens this Sunday, it was discovered that Deshaun Watson has a fracture in his shoulder that is going to require surgery, that is going to put him out for the remainder of the season. And if we're being honest, it probably puts his career a little bit in jeopardy because this is his throwing shoulder. So he's got a significant rehab that he's got to go through, and it's going to be a long process. So your initial reaction, your long-term thoughts towards the Browns as it relates to Deshaun Watson being out for the season?
My initial reaction is Deshaun Watson, example, Tony Romo. Tony Romo had a collarbone, shoulder type situation, I think more than one time. So it looks like it can be re-injured.
Yeah.
Cut your career short. So that's nothing
great
to play
point.
with.
Great point.
And the Browns, I mean, I understand you giving this man a lot of money, but with high risk.
No. They didn't give him a lot of money. They gave him a lot of guaranteed money. $230 million to be exact. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean that is a lot to hang your hat on because come high risk, high reward. So I mean they have to lay in the bed that they made. So I mean they got to still pay the man whether he's on the field or not. So him, it's not really he can chill or he can come back and play. It's probably not really up to him with where he goes or what his motivation may be. So
I'll say this. This is a horrible set of circumstances. Now, let's be fair and let's be clear. Deshaun Watson hasn't looked that good this season. So I'm not 100% sure how devastating this really is because the defense is the reason why they've won most of their games this season. And it will be the reason why they continue to win this season. So I don't know how devastating this really truly is. But having said that, he looked better is the word I'm going to use for this past weekend. In that comeback win against the Ravens, he looked better. He didn't look like Deshaun. He just looked better.
Well, could he have been hurt during the game or something?
He was absolutely hurt during the game.
Okay.
He's been hurt most of the season, and that they could explain why he has not looked good all season long. In fact, it probably does explain it. But having said that, also,
Why go out there?
Right. You should have already gotten this done. That's number one. And then number two,
it's because he's not getting the massages anymore, man.
I knew somebody was going to do it, and it was going to be you.
I mean, you take away a man's recovery.
Yeah, but massages don't help you with a broken, fractured shoulder.
We don't know that.
I mean, I'm gonna just say this. I feel bad for him. I feel bad for the Browns organization. Because it felt like they were kind of coming into their own, and now they may be royally screwed at this point.
They may just have a quarterback curse at this point.
It hasn't gone well, has it, Chad?
At all.
If you look back at the journey of quarterbacks they've had for the last 20 years, it has not gone well. It has not gone well at all. Yeah, they might need to get some prayer warriors in there, burn some sage, quote some Michael Jackson lyrics or something. I don't know, but they got to do something.
Yeah. At this point, would you try to trade up in the draft wherever your position is and try to draft a quarterback?
Oh man, great question. It's
gonna be some quality ones coming out this year. So
maybe. How about this? How about this as a trade? You ready for this? How about you talk to the Jets and see if you can trade Deshaun Watson there right now for Zach Wilson and their number one pick for next year.
Think he needs a change of scenery, Zach Wilson?
Well, whether he does or whether he doesn't, all you try to do is get through the year and finish the year. And Zach ain't got to go. He can be decent.
Yeah.
Because you got PJ Walker there. He'll get you through probably the rest of the season, but that gives them a decent backup. And then also, it gives them a backup. I ain't going to say decent. It gives them a backup. But you got a backup for PJ Walker, and then you got their first round pick. And so now you can go get one of those guys that you're talking about. Although I don't know who it would be. Like, who would you take? Penix? You can't take Penix. He's going to go early.
Yeah, probably like a May, like a Drake May or somebody.
I'm going to be honest with you. And I'm going to say this again on Believe in the ACC tomorrow. What I thought Drake May was, he may not be. He may be more Baker Mayfield than he is, or maybe even a better comparison, he may be Jared Goff. Like, he's good, but also everything got to be right for him to be good. And by the way, that's not an uncommon thing. Let's be clear. That sounds like hate, I guess, in some people's mind. And I understand why you would think that it's hate, because it sounds like a horrible statement. Everything got to be right. That's usually the case for most quarterbacks in the NFL. Yeah. Most quarterbacks are not transcendent to their team. Like, plug them in and everybody instantly gets better. That's not usually how it works. If you look across the league, most guys have guys that are good enough, and as long as you put the right pieces in place, they're going to be okay. Drake May seems to be, to me, to be that. I don't think he's transcendent at all. I think he's just okay. So,
and maybe that's what one team needs. It's an okay quarterback.
But they got enough weapons in Cleveland that might work, like you just said. That's what they need. They just need somebody that's a little better than okay, and that may be Drake May. I don't know, but it's interesting. I don't think they need Bo Nix. I'm confident Bo Nix is Baker Mayfield. I'm 1,000% confident. I'm not impressed by Bo Nix at all. And I know everybody talks about him glowingly, but I'm telling you, I've seen that movie before. He is Baker Mayfield 2.0.
Man. Yeah, we're going to see real quick. We're going to see real quick.
Yeah, I think he's Baker Mayfield 2.0. Which brings us to our fourth question of the night, sir. NFC, AFC, best, worst, most surprising. My brother from another mother, like no other. Chad Major, take it away. Who are your NFC best, worst, and most surprising for this week, sir?
Okay, so I got my best. I got a tie.
Okay.
I got a tie. I'm going to go with 49ers and the Cowboys. But not – I'm going with the Cowboys, but not for what you think. Not necessarily for the performance, for the fact that, we kind of built some confidence with other guys that we weren't really getting involved in the offense, like a Brandon Cooks and like Michael Gallup. So I think that was a good confidence boost for them. I think we need to go ahead and have Rico Dowdle play the part of Zeke from a year ago and have him get more carries and have Tony Pollard do what he does, come in and do the third downs and, the third down things. And, so he can be able to go back to him, doing his long runs and, just have him free up, Tony Pollard a little bit. So I think they need to play Rico, starting a little bit more and give him some more touches. So that can kind of see, look what last year looked like. My worst, Giants. I mean, self-explanatory.
It's a cop out on what it is. It's a cop out on your part for what it is.
I mean, you guys had Saquon. The only thing that you didn't really have was your quarterback. Y'all still had people on defense.
That's a pretty big deal, Chad.
Okay. I mean, okay.
We got a third string undrafted rookie starting at quarterback that don't know what he's doing.
It's not my fault.
You know what, Chad? I'll take your old funky hate. I ain't worried about it. I'm gonna give you a legitimate list, okay?
Oh, I'm not done. Hold on.
Yeah, your worst.
I said I ain't gotta get my surprise.
Oh goodness, what is your surprise?
My surprise, Panthers and the Bears. I thought the score from Indianapolis would be the Panthers and the Bears game. I thought that.
You made me wait for that.
I thought that would be the 10-6 game that I was going to be looking at. So
it was just about. It was 16-13. It was a horrible game.
Yeah, it was horrible. So.
Shout out to Thursday Night Football though. They finally got a good game tomorrow. That Ravens Bengals should be nice. Oh, yeah. That should be nice. Okay, you made me wait for that. I should have. Okay, here's a legitimate list, everybody. The best is clearly the 49ers, who went out and just dominated against what everybody thought was maybe one of the best teams in the AFC, and maybe they still are. We'll see. But boy, the 49ers made Jacksonville look pedestrian. They, I mean, in their house, they went in Duval. So the 49ers look amazing. Isn't it amazing how two players make them look unbeatable? Trent Williams, first of all, there's a play. If you haven't seen it, go back and see it. I'm sure it's floating on the internet somewhere by now. But there's a play that describes Trent Williams to a T. They're coming around the left end with Debo. Debo's running around the left end, and Trent Williams is the lead blocker. And a safety or a cornerback or somebody, maybe it was even a linebacker, came up and saw Trent Williams. And instead of meeting him for a block or contact, that joker just scooted on out of
business decision.
I said, well, that about sums up Trent Williams about as well as you can sum him up. He is a man amongst men. And They are a different team when he's out there. He and Debo. They are a different team when he's out there. So my best is the 49ers. My worst actually is the Falcons. How do you have that many weapons? A running back like Bijan Robinson, a tight end like Cal. First of all, do they even use Cal Pitt anymore? Like, is he still on the team? How many yards did Cal Pitt have this weekend? It can't be much.
I know.
Cal
I got a
Pitt
jersey.
had 30 yards, 3 catches for 30 yards. That is sad. You can't get the ball to Kyle Pitts.
That's supposed to be your safety blanket, ain't it?
Kyle Pitts should never leave a game under 100 yards. Like, he's way too talented. They just wasting him there. Give him to a team that could use him. I'm just saying. So the Falcons are my worst. Because, again, I can't keep saying the Giants and Carolina every week. We already know they're bad. That's just a waste of time to say those two teams. And then my surprise, man, listen. I know Minnesota is trending in the right direction, and the things that Joshua Dobbs is doing are unbelievable. Like, it is stunning to watch this guy play in the NFL right now. Like, he is killing the game. But, man, the Lions, they doing their thing, bro. They are really doing their thing. And it appears that they're learning to beat you in whatever game you want to play. So this weekend, it was a scoring game. And so Jared Goff decided I can throw for 300 yards. And David Montgomery was like, cool, I can run for 106. I can catch for 116. And we'll beat the Chargers. So whatever game you're bringing, they seem to be adapting to that. And they have something that could be the most dangerous thing to any, team, and that's belief. They believe they can win, man, every weekend and week out. So I'm giving my surprise to the Lions. All right, so I'll start off the AFC, and there's a tie for me. And it's the Texans and the Broncos. I'll be honest with you. That Broncos game was a disaster in every possible way. And the fact, or at least the ending was for sure. But the fact that they won that game, that was surprising, because the Broncos have been losing that game, and they ended up winning that game. Now, granted, it was because of the pure and utter stupidity of the Buffalo Bills, but they won the game, and so you got to give them credit. But the most impressive team, and by the way, I believe that was one of the games that I picked, sir. Houston going into Cincinnati and beating Cincinnati at their house. And I'm going to tell you, the reason why I picked them to win that game is because you can't fake the type of play that C.J. Stroud is playing. That drive, if you go back and watch that drive from the week before, that was a real drive. It was not luck or things just fell into our place. No, he commanded the field. He made the reads that he wanted to make. He made the throws that he wanted to make. It was a legitimate drive. Same thing this past weekend. He is the real thing. And man, I'm starting to believe that Carolina may have blown it in a major way by not taking C.J. Stroud or Anthony Richardson at that number one spot. It feels like Bryce Young should have been the third pick in the draft, third quarterback off the board right now. So I'm impressed, man. I am so impressed by what C.J. Stroud is doing. And I'm concerned about the Bengals. No T. Higgins tomorrow, which means you can double down on Jamar Chase and force Tyler Boyd, who has not been playing well at all. Should be an interesting game tomorrow with a very angry, hostile Ravens team. Because they know they shouldn't have lost that game. They should not have lost that game. So this is going to be interesting to see how that works out. So that's my best. My worst is the Bills. Come on, man. Y'all got come on. Josh, listen. I'm not one of them dudes Everybody else wants to give Josh a pass. I'm not going to give you a pass. You are terrible, sir, and you are costing your team games. Those interceptions, I'm gonna give you the one but you know what? But I'm not even gonna give you that because man, you tried to force the ball into and it hit his hand, so he should have caught it. But you put so much smoke on it, and you like, yo, man, take something off a little bit, just a little bit. Like Josh Allen is playing terrible. I'm sorry, he is, and we can keep giving and making excuses for him, but he's not playing well. And to the credit, I heard this on ESPN, but man, if Dak had been playing this bad, they'd be lighting his ass up. Well, guess what? Josh Allen, we about to light you up. You look terrible. You're making bad decisions, bad reads, overthrowing people, not getting the ball to your number one receiver, which is Stephon Diggs. And I'm sorry. You can fire the OC if you want to, but I don't think that's the problem. The OC wasn't the one that made those throws. The OC wasn't the one that overthrew players. The OC wasn't the one that threw that ridiculous interception at the end of the second quarter that made no sense to throw that ball. That receiver was not open in any way, form, or fashion. So you're just trying to force plays down the field. So I'm sorry, that's all Josh Allen, and he deserves all the smoke. So the Bills are my worst right now. And I'm going to say something. I'm going to go ahead and say it now. They're not going to make the playoffs.
Wow.
They're not going to make the playoffs because of who my surprise is. My surprise is the entire AFC North. Much like the NFC East last year where 3 teams got in, I think 3 teams are going to get in on the North. If I had to put you on the spot right now, Chad, AFC North, do the Ravens get in?
Yes.
Do the Steelers get in? I don't know how they're doing it, but do they get in?
Possibly.
That's what I'm saying. It's more possible than the Bills.
Yeah.
Do the Browns? Their circumstances have changed a little bit. They might not get in, but I gotta believe the Cincinnati Bengals are gonna get in, don't I? Although they'll be 5-5, possibly after tomorrow. If they lose tomorrow, they'll be 5-5. And that
before this week, I would have said yeah because it was rolling, but I don't know.
Here's what makes it interesting. Here's what makes the coming down the stretch interesting for all of these teams. The Raiders are 5-5. The Texans are 5-4. Jacksonville 6-3, but the Texans could win that division. But I think Jacksonville could get in. So then if 2 teams, we think the Ravens and well, I don't know. The AFC North is unbelievable to me. And that's why it's surprising. Because the Ravens shouldn't have, to me, I think the Ravens should be undefeated. There's no reason why the Ravens shouldn't be undefeated. But they're not. And I'm starting to believe, I hate to say it, but can they win the tight ones? And why are they making some of the games tight? Like, there's no reason why that game should have been tight Sunday. They had
self-inflicting wounds.
Tight. Huh?
Self-inflicting wounds.
A lot of self-inflicting wounds. If they can stop that, then maybe they can go ahead and win outright. But I still think they're the best team in that division. I don't know. I just think the NFC North is fascinating. And it got even more fascinating with the injury today. So I'm saying the entire AFC North is a box of chocolates right now. We don't know what we're gonna get. But I if I had to guess, I'd say the Ravens get in. I'm gonna have to wait to see tomorrow. Because if the Bengals are actually last in the division right now. As crazy as that sounds. They're last in the division.
But they can string off some wins and be right back in it. So.
They could, but if the Ravens beat them tomorrow, that's bad, bro. Because the Bills are 5-5, the Texans are 5-4, and Indianapolis Colts are 5-5, and then the Raiders are 5-5. The Chargers and the Broncos are both 4-5, but the Broncos are actually trending in the right direction. So I don't know. What's going to be weird about this is that the AFC North can get all of them in or one of them in.
Mm.
So that's my surprise. We thought that they were going to be the juggernaut of the AFC, and now we don't know what they are.
Yeah.
So those are my AFC. What do you got?
Well, I went with the same. The best Texans, man. They winning with a rookie quarterback, a rookie coach. That's remarkable. That's he's might be in the MVP conversation.
Oh no, I think there's no way DeMeco Ryans doesn't win the Coach of the Year.
Oh.
He would have to stumble all over himself to lose there. I know they're saying some other people might have. I don't see how you give it to Nick Sirianni if the Eagles were supposed to be good. Like,
yeah,
they're supposed to be good. So, maybe Dan Campbell, maybe.
Yeah.
You make a case for Dan Campbell if they can keep this going. They're 7-2 now, second best in the conference. But I think if the Houston Texans make the playoffs, I think it's DeMeco Ryans. And it's not even close.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
My worst was the Bills. I think they missed Brian Daboll.
Oh, I know they missed Brian Daboll.
Yeah.
And hey, if I'm being honest, Brian Daboll misses them.
Facts.
Tough spot. It's a tough spot. But I think this maybe is a blessing in disguise for the Giants because I know how much, and I'm not trying to take over your segment. I apologize.
No, you.
But I know how much Mr. Mara wanted to support Daniel Jones, and now he's seeing he ain't it.
Would you support Brian Daboll going to get his guy?
Yes, you have to. If you're Mr. Mara, you have to let him get his guys in. You hired him to do a job. Let him do his, and Joe Shane, the GM, let them do their job at the level that they want to do it. Here's the truth of the matter. Are we having an honest moment right now?
Sure.
Okay, let's have an honest moment. I'm going to look right to the camera when I say this. They knew when they gave him the money last year, he wasn't their guy. They knew. Facts. Did he play better and shock the world? Yes. But they also knew he wasn't their guy. Deep down, they know. We all know. But they did it because the owner asked them to. And he put him in a tough spot at that press conference when he said, Daniel Jones is our guy, and we've screwed this kid up about as much as you can screw a kid up. We were stuck at that. That year was already a wash at that point.
It's a good faith contract.
It was a good faith contract. But now, Mr. Merrick can't justify putting that kid and that product back on the field another year and asking fans to pay money for it. They got to go get their guy. So it's kind of working out. Because we don't want to win games now. We don't need to win games now. We need to be competitive, but we don't need to win games.
Yeah.
We need to be in the Michael Penix / Caleb Williams sweepstakes. So there you go. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead, bro.
Nah, you good. And my surprise was the Ravens losing. Like you said, that shouldn't have been a loss. They should have won that game. And they have to win games like that to be able to advance in the playoffs. So, I mean,
who is the best team in the AFC right now? Is just Kansas City and the Eagles still in the AFC, NFC? And all of this has been really for nothing? Because nothing has really changed?
I say Kansas City and the Texans.
It's hard to argue against that, bro. It really is.
Texans, if they keep trending up, it's got to be. That'd be tough. It'd be tough.
Heard a lot of conversations about C.J. Stroud being in the MVP category or race as well. I think the Rookie of the Year is settled. I don't think there's any question that he's going to win Rookie of the Year. But what about the MVP? Is he in the MVP category? Should he be in that conversation as well? Yeah. No rookies won it in probably 30, 40, 50 years. I think the last rookie was Jim Brown.
I think he should be in the conversation.
He's got to be.
Yes, yeah.
He's got to be. Who's playing better than C.J. Stroud right now? Who's playing more consistent than C.J. Stroud right now?
I mean, right now,
maybe Dak.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
But Dak is beating up on a lot of bad teams, though.
Yeah, but their schedule is about to get really harder, so that question is about to be answered. Really,
whose schedule is going to get harder?
The Cowboys.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Have you seen that schedule?
They have Miami.
The following teams are coming up: Carolina Panthers, Washington Commanders, Seattle Seahawks. It doesn't get tough until December.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I'm not talking about these games. I'm talking about the Buffaloes, the Miami.
You're talking about later in December. Okay.
Philadelphia. Yeah, that's what I'm talking
we'll find out who they are. Okay, fair enough. But yeah, I think CJ is doing some amazing stuff. All right, let's get to the final thing of the day, people. Y'all know what it is. It's us talking about who wins. We call it the 5 picks. But before we get to the picks, we got to talk about this record.
Yeah.
How did we do last week?
In college football, I went 4 for 5. You and Cam went 3 for 5.
How's that
NFL,
possible?
Where
did I fail at?
Let me see. You picked Ole Miss.
I did. I picked the upset. You're right.
You picked Ole Miss. No, you picked. Wait, who was this? Who did Tennessee play?
Missouri.
Yeah, you picked Missouri.
I picked Missouri.
You picked Missouri, and you picked. You picked Missouri. So actually, you're 4 for 5.
Right.
No, you picked Missouri and Penn State. That's what
I picked the upset with Penn State.
Yeah,
is James Franklin gonna be fired?
No.
Only because they're going to 12.
Yeah, no. Not
if they don't go to 12, it's possible he can be fired.
No.
Okay.
But, all right. Yeah, you got an agent like Jimbo Fisher. You'll be all right.
Shout out to Jimbo Fisher. Lord have mercy.
NFL, I went 3 for 5. You and Cam went 4 for 5. So
4 for 5.
You're better than NFL.
So NFL. So if you bet with me at NFL, you're killing the game right now.
Yeah.
If you betting with me in the NCAA, you're just barely getting by. So there you go. All right. So that brings us to this week's game. I call it Trap Week.
Oh, yeah.
Minnesota and Ohio State. Minnesota is a very strange team to me because their coach is a good coach, and he coaches just well enough. And every year since he's been there, he has stolen a game from somebody. Every year. I don't know if this is the game because they're 5-5, but he has not stolen a game yet. Is this the game?
Part of me wants to say yes.
Now, part of me wants to say no.
Part of me wants to say I feel like we want to be the one to ruin that, but I think Ohio State is going to win this one.
I'm going to go Ohio State, but I have a feeling this is going to be a lot tougher than they think. But we'll see. All right, Ohio State on that one. Georgia and Tennessee, another trap game. And this one is at Tennessee. And Tennessee would like nothing more than to play disruptor to the Georgia Bulldogs. And Tennessee has to get this win. They are desperate. Because they don't have a good win on their schedule.
This will be a good one.
Not one.
This will be a good one. I said this will be a good one, but they're not going to win this one. So
no. Yeah, I agree. I agree 100%. Yeah. And it's at home. Now, it's at home, but I think Georgia's going to get it. This is going to be a good one. Real rivalry game. Kansas State, Kansas. Who you got?
Kansas against Kansas State. Let's go with the rankings. Let's go with Kansas.
Go with the rankings.
I don't know too much about either team. So.
Just to make it fun and spicy, I'll go Kansas State. Just to make it fun for us. Utah and Arizona.
I'm going with Utah.
I'm going with Arizona at home.
Okay.
At home. I'm going with Arizona. And then the big one this weekend in the Pac-2, Washington and Oregon State.
Washington ain't let me down just yet, so I'm sticking with them.
That offense is consistent on the road or at home. And while DJ Uiagalelei has proven that he was far better than Dabo Swinney gave him credit for, I think this is the game where he can't outduel Michael Penix. So give me Washington on that one as well. All right, we're going to the NFL, and we're starting with tomorrow night. Cincinnati and Baltimore. I'll go first. I think Baltimore comes out and with anger and violent fury, and they try to send a message to the rest of the conference about what the second half of this season is going to be. Give me Baltimore.
My head says one thing and my heart says another thing.
Go with your heart.
Yeah, which one to listen to?
Go with your heart.
I'll see what Joe Burrow got in him.
Okay, you're going with the Natty. All right.
Yeah.
I'm going Pitt just because Mike Tomlin is also now. That's another coach that might win Coach of the Year this year because I don't know. They've been outscored and not outscored, but out-yarded in every game they've played this season, and they've won. Give me Pitt on the road against Cleveland in a nasty, nasty fight.
Well, you know what? Pittsburgh has T.J. Watt.
They do.
Cleveland
has Myles Garrett. That might be a wash. That might be a wash, bro.
So I think I'm gonna go Cleveland.
That could be a wash. I'm not sure there's a distinct advantage there for either team.
No, the quarterbacks will be running.
Oh, listen, the score of the game might be 10-9 when it's all said and done, or 6-3.
Yeah,
or it may be 7-3 and a defensive touchdown. I clearly think a defensive touchdown will win the game. Let's be clear about that.
Yeah. There will be some interceptions thrown in this game.
Win the game. Huh?
There will be some interceptions thrown in this game.
No question about it. All right. Vegas and Miami. Vegas 2-0 since firing their coach. Miami coming off the bye, right? They didn't play last week. They're coming off the bye. So they should be well rested. It's in Miami. It's gonna be hot. What do you think?
I'm going with the Dolphins.
Dolphins at home. I'm gonna say the same. I think too much Tyreek, too much Waddle, too many weapons. Give me Miami on that one. All right, Minnesota and Denver. Minnesota also trending in the right direction. Denver trending in the right direction. And it's going to be cold in Denver. Outside. Who you got for this one?
You go with the rocket scientist, Joshua Dobbs in Minnesota.
He balling, ain't he? He balling.
Yes. Man, it's a scientist.
He is a scientist, and he's killing it. He's killing it. But I think it's got to come to an end at some point. And I think in Denver, somehow Denver figures this out and they get it done. I'm going to say, give me Denver.
And I think Justin Jefferson's playing this week.
Yeah, still give me Denver. Still give me Denver. And then the final game, Monday Night Football. Philadelphia at Kansas City, the rematch of our previous Super Bowl, but it's in Kansas City. Which way are you going with this one?
This is the Kelsey Bowl Part 2. I'm going with Kansas City because Taylor Swift will be there, and she's a good luck charm. So I'm going.
She's undefeated when she's there. Let me be very clear and go on the record once again. I still don't believe in this fake relationship. They're days and months or weeks away from a breakup. It's gonna happen. Probably not to the end of the season, but it's gonna happen at some point. So I don't believe at all. But having said that, give me Kansas City. I just think there's some things that aren't quite right with Philly, and I think they're about to hit a stretch where they may lose a few of these games. So starting with this one. So there you go. There are our picks for the week. Yes. In our shout outs today, we absolutely want to give a collective shout out to the greatest football thief of all time. He just moved into this ranking just this past weekend. Ladies and gentlemen, the new football thief champ, Jimbo Fisher. How the hell do you lose as many games as he's lost? And then as a reward of you getting fired, you're owed $77 million. Brother,
I heard
you are the true football thief. Congratulations.
I heard he signed a big baller brand and he got shirts say never lost one.
Hey, never lost. Never lost. I'm impressed. Hey, I gotta tell you, I'm impressed. I'm trying to call your agent tonight and see if I can get some deals done. My God, that's impressive. That's impressive. So a collective shout out for that one. And then also my other shout out is to my homeboy Byron Lusby, whose daughter just signed with I think it's Immaculate Word or Incarnate Word in University of Incarnate Word or something like that. Signed a D1 scholarship, and so she's gonna be balling with the Word. So that's cool. And I think that's all the shout outs I got. Shout out to my family for doing what they do. And I think we'll be back next week. I don't know. I got to check with the fam. We may be off next week because it's Thanksgiving week. I forgot it was Thanksgiving week. So
yes, sir.
Yeah, so we may be off next week. We'll let you know. So, Chad, what you doing?
Yes, sir. Shout out to fam, Rewatch Gang, Five Nation, definitely the families. Shout out to Reggie and Cam, in their absence. Yeah, man. I don't know. Just shout out sports in general, man. This is a good time. We got football and basketball, and I mean, we got something to watch every day. So
yeah, and plus the Raiders won the World Series. I don't know if you're aware of that, but the Raiders won.
Season's over. Season's over.
That's all season long, baby.
Yeah, I got to win free agency again. So that's
I don't know if we do. I think we got to re-sign Montgomery. I don't know if I want to sign Shohei, man. I know he mentioned us in his conversations, but this is feeling real Kevin Durant-ish. And that didn't work out so well. Well, I guess it did work out well. They won 2 titles.
It did.
So,
it did. Shout out my boy Draymond Green, man, for holding your teamate down. You're a true teammate. Can we
deal with that for just a second? I know we got to go, but can we deal with that? I'm going to be honest with you. And I know our group chat was on fire yesterday talking about it. And then I did finally catch up to Reggie, and we talked about it a little bit as well. But I'm going to just be honest with you. Y'all not going to like what I'm going to say, but it's the truth. I got zero problem with it. Got zero problem with what he did. I would have taken the same 5-game suspension. Let me tell you why. First thing that popped in my head was, if that was Chad Major and somebody was slinging him around the court like McDaniels was slinging him around the court, and then their biggest guy came and grabbed him around the neck, I'm responding.
Yeah.
I'm responding. I'm not going to sit back and let this dude put his hands on you. And Rudy Gobert can act like, oh, you know, I was trying to break the fight up. Then grab your guy. Don't grab my guy. Grab your guy. You can get my guy hit in the face because he can't move his arm now because your big ass got him. So no, I'm sorry. Listen. Did Draymond maybe choke him a little longer than he should have? Probably. He earned the 5-game suspension. Let's be clear. But do I have a problem with what he did? I don't.
Not at all.
I want my teammate to defend me. Ladies, you want a man to love you like Draymond loves his teammates. I got to fight every night to prove my love.
Hey, we see that Rudy Gobert's teammates didn't fight for him like that.
Yo, that was kind of crazy, bro, wasn't it? Because Cat didn't do nothing. Like, he was like, hey, guys, break it up. I don't know.
Anthony Edwards nowhere to be found.
I didn't even see Anthony Edwards in the play. Did he even come off the bench? Okay, I'll leave it alone. But it's cool when they say it, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So
that's
how my show. Yeah, you know, we'll take these 5 games in stride. So
take the 5 games in stride. Which, by the way, for those who are keeping score, and just out of pure curiosity, you want to know who the 5 games are? They will be tonight at OKC. Well, they got back-to-back against OKC.
Mm-hmm.
And then Houston, then Phoenix, and then San Antonio.
Mm-hmm.
They should survive that.
We should.
They should survive that. They should be okay. So there you go. All right. That's the show, people. Again, shout out to the Rewatch Game. We appreciate y'all very much. Tomorrow morning, Believe in the ACC. Got a lot to talk about on Believe in the ACC tomorrow. So don't miss that. That's my guy right there, Mr. Chad Major, Lloyd Spence. We missed the rest of the fam, but we'll see you soon. But until then, we out.
Peace.
Five will get you 10 when you're plugging in with the there's no mystery. Let's make history with the 5. Oh, the strongest. 2 and 3. Add 1 more plus me and you the 5. Yeah. Keep it on the floor.